German actress and singer Marlene Dietrich once said, "In America, sex is an obsession. In other parts of the world, a fact." After coming to the United States and becoming a citizen, Marlene was overwhelmed by sex everywhere. If you take a look around, you can see exactly what Marlene saw: sex. There's sex on billboards while driving down the highway. There's sex in TV shows and television commercials. There's sex in magazines, music, movies. Almost anywhere you look in America, things are somehow related to sex. Having so much related to sex is not only demeaning to our country, but our country's youth is becoming obsessed with sex also. Teenagers see it in advertisements and television shows, thinking that sex will give them a high status. Sex, defined as physical intercourse and sensual pictures in the media, is taking a toll for the worst, contributing negatively to teenagers' lives. It may be able to sell pocketbooks and perfume, but it's also selling teenagers' innocence. Sex is also being used to sell products that have nothing to do with sex. The billboard on the screen is an ad for Subway restaurant. Sex is just used as a way to grab attention, and it promotes something that has nothing to do with the product trying to be sold. Sex in advertisements and the media needs to be reduced for a slew of reasons. Women respond to explicit advertising negatively. Sex in the media makes kids feel that having sex will make them cool, and television shows influence teens to do things like have sex when they normally would not be doing those things. Sex in advertisements does not always work. When a woman sees a commercial for Mariah Carey's perfume, they're most likely going to be affected in a negative way. In the commercial, Mariah is naked, all except for a thin silk sheet. Her music is on in the background while she lowers the sheet and is putting perfume all over her body. Some of the places perfume would not normally go, like her perfectly toned stomach. While men who see this commercial would be quickly attracted and maybe even put in a trance, studies have shown that women would most likely look the other way and not even interested in the perfume. Men most likely are not going to buy this perfume because it is a product for women. Therefore, the product may not be sold, so maybe this ad is just ineffective. Females look for more of a commitment or more love in advertisements. Most women are not looking for casual sex. They want marriage, children, the whole package. There was a study done testing men and women and their taste in advertisements. Some researchers made 2 different advertisements for a wristwatch. One of the advertisements was sexy with a watch in it. The other was just sexy without a watch. When tested, the majority of men preferred the ad without the watch, and the women preferred the ad with the watch. This study shows that sex in advertisements works better when directed toward men. Also, when it comes to advertisements, showing a man stimulated with sexual desire works counterproductively. Women see this as an aggressive, threatening gesture, and it scares them away. When seeing a billboard with long, sexy legs on it, advertising a brand of high heels, attention will be drawn from both males and females. The men will look, thinking how incredibly sexy the legs are, while women will stare at the legs longingly, wishing they had legs like that. Most of these women do not know that these shoes will not turn a 5'1" lady into a 5'8" goddess. So after purchasing the heels, women will be disappointed their legs do not look like the legs on the billboard, even though no one's legs look like the airbrushed image which created perfection. Not only does sex not always work, it also sends out the wrong message for teenagers and adolescents. In television shows, movies, music, magazines, basically anything that has to do with the media, teens are exposed to sex, mainly in a negative way. The media is portraying sex in a way that makes teens think that having sex will make you feel better about yourself and make you feel cool. Out of 14,000 sexual media references each year, only 165 of them refer to birth control, self-control, abstinence, pregnancy, or sexually transmitted diseases. In some teenage girls' favorite shows like Gossip Girl, 90210, The OC, and One Tree Hill, many different sex scenes are put in the shows. These sex scenes will show a man and woman passionately making love. These people could be madly in love, drunk out of their minds, or having just met. But every sex scene that television shows seem to make sex look like it is never wrong, and it usually always turns out great. Very rarely will they mention STDs or pregnancy, which are 2 devastating side effects that can result after teens have sex. Thinking that sex will always always be like it is in the movies, some teens will not even think twice before engaging in sexual intercourse. Studies have shown that 12 to 14-year-olds exposed to excessive sexual content in movies, music, magazines, and on TV were 2.2 times more likely to have sex when asked again 2 years later. Television shows and risque advertisements influence kids to do things that they would not normally do. A poll asked 1,505 adults what sex on TV shows and movies does to children. 62% of the adults asked answered that it influences kids to have sex at too young of an age. More than 3 out of 4 of the average American says that the way television shows sex encourages irresponsible behavior. After watching an episode of Gossip Girl, teens feel a desire to have sexual relations because Serena van der Woodsen and Chuck Bass make sex out to be a fun game. Now some of you may be thinking, what about The Secret Life of the American Teenager? Yes, the show does show that sex can not always turn out to be a good thing. Amy Durgans, a 15-year-old, had a baby her freshman year in high school with a guy, Ricky, a year older than her, whom she had a one-night fling. This show does demonstrate that there are struggles being a teenage mother, but while Amy is having the baby, Ricky's off having sex with his girlfriend Adrian and many other girls. This show still portrays sex in a positive way, making people overlook the fact that Amy is a teenage mother. But Amy is not exactly struggling with life. She's able to raise a baby, go to school, go to work, keep her grades up, and have a normal social life. Does this sound realistic to you? Television shows do not reflect real life. Raising a baby is not as easy as she portrays. Only 1/3 of high school mothers receive a high school diploma, and only 1.5% have a college degree by age 30. Additionally, nearly 80% of unmarried teenage mothers end up on welfare. This show may have wanted to help put an end to teen motherhood, but it does not show the true realities of these struggles. Magazines, commercials, and television shows should not be portraying sex in the light that they do. Even though it may help sell products or bring up their ratings, it is influencing teenagers to do the wrong things and show explicit, irresponsible behavior. Instead of having America's youth watching and seeing this in the media, sexual content should be limited and reduced when being targeted to younger groups. Instead of risque billboards and sex in shows, advertisers should take a different approach to promote their products for sale. There are many different techniques that can be used to sell a pair of blue jeans instead of showing a gorgeous man and woman lying topless on top of one another, as seen in the Calvin Klein advertisements. The advertiser can easily make the blue jeans seem as though they are the ultimate brand of jeans on the market, and you would be crazy not to own a pair. They can use glittering generalities, which basically shows the blue jeans in a very appealing angle, conveying that these jeans will give you status. On the screen is 2 ads. One of the ads are from Aeropostale, which is the top one, and the bottom one is from Abercrombie & Fitch. When comparing the two, the one from Aeropostale is modest and innocent, while the Abercrombie one is racy and vulgar. The clothing in the Abercrombie ad is fairly even shown. Sure, they both might sell, but the Aeropostale ad is much more appropriate for all ages. Making more ads look like this one can help our country restore itself. In television shows, sex should be limited. These shows do not convey what a strain sex can put on a high school relationship, as well as the high school experience. If the sex scenes in shows were reduced, teens would not feel the pressure much to have sex at a premature age. Marlene Dietrich was correct. America is obsessed with sex. The country was obsessed back in the 1980s when she was living, and the country is still obsessed now in 2010, long after Marlene's death. Sex is just impossible to avoid. It is in advertisements, television shows, movies, and music, all of which has an effect on its viewers, be it positive or negative. So next time you turn on the television, think about what you're watching. Think about what the TV is showing you, and realize that sex is not always the answer. If society does not react to the advertiser's sexual innuendos, perhaps it will take a different track to sell their wares.